So this video is to help someone who asked me how to fly the minicopter in Rust. Now it can be quite difficult for a new player to get a hang of this thing because it is devastating to control for the first time. Now one cool feature is that if you use left alt, you can actually look around while flying without turning the helicopter, so it's a great way to see where you want to land and get an idea of your surroundings, and also not pressing spacebar while you're flying is a great start. Now to get into a minicopter, you just look at the seat right in the middle, press E to get into it. You can only fly it from that seat. The other seats are basically just to shoot from. Now you'll have to hold W to let your propeller spin, so it gives you enough time to raise up. Now at this point, you don't want to move your mouse around if you don't know what you're doing. Holding W will just raise you up. Now, but when you move your mouse, imagine your cursor is in the middle of the screen. By default, when you enter the minicopter, the cursor will be in the middle of the screen, even though you can't see a cursor. And when you move that cursor to the left, the right, up, or down, it will actually move your minicopter in that direction constantly. So to actually balance your minicopter again, you have to get the cursor back into the middle of the screen. And this is a little bit confusing since you actually cannot see the cursor. You have to just feel it. Now this is weird, right? So when you move all the way forward, the helicopter will start moving forward a lot. And sometimes you can go so much forward that you can basically do a front flip or a back flip with the minicopter, but it's extremely difficult and you have to know how to fly this thing really well. One of the biggest mistakes using the minicopter for the first time is moving your mouse rapidly, because when you do that, you lose control of where that cursor is, and by that you lose your balance, and then your minicopter is just going to crash. You're going to put it upside down on its side, and you're going to be like, you don't know how to keep this thing up in the air. You're going to crash it. So you need to be gentle. Move your mouse slowly to the front so that you can tip the minicopter forward so that you can go forwards, and then test how much you actually moved your mouse to get that effect, and then you can slowly push it further forward, and then when you want to start bringing it back, you pull the mouse backwards, like you saw in the mouse cursor that I showed on screen, trying to copy the movements that I was making with the minicopter to show you how I'm actually controlling the minicopter while I'm flying it using the mouse. Like you can see in this random clip here, using something like the lighthouse is a good place to practice and land your minicopter, because landing this thing is harder than flying it, because you got to balance, you got to make sure you don't tip it at the last second, you got to make sure you don't hit things, and you obviously don't want it to explode if you crash it. So what I highly recommend is just practice landing on things, and a good place to actually practice things is go on to look for a modded server that says PvE, because these usually have a mod called like My Mini, and you can actually spawn in a minicopter and you can just play around with it, fly it, and practice with it as much as you can before actually getting one on PvP for the first time and destroying it in the first 5 seconds that you fly it, because that is really demoralizing, and trust me, it happens. I don't want to know, I don't even want to recall how many minicopters I destroyed in my first experience flying these things, because it was really confusing. But I hope this video was helpful in explaining the functions about the minicopter and how it actually flies, so that it gives you a better idea of how you're supposed to control it so that you can fly it better and learn how it's used. And just make sure when you land properly, and make sure it stops before you jump out, because otherwise shit like this happens. And I'll see you guys in a future video. Thank you so much for watching.